Hi, welcome to Improve Work podcast. Here you'll find resources to level up your leadership role and create the team that you want. It's Daniela here. Feel free to ask me questions about today's episode's topic. Also, if you would like me to speak about a specific topic, let me know. You'll find my email address in the description of this episode. I hope you enjoy it and subscribe. Okay, let's get started. Hi there, welcome back. I will go straight to today's topic, building a values-driven workplace, a blueprint for success. You may wonder, why are the company's values important for business success? Well, a company's values are not just a set of words on a wall. They are a strategic tool that influences every aspect of the company. They create a sense of identity and unity, provide a framework for decisions and behaviors, and ensure stability and also build the company's brand. Although values might seem abstract and hard to observe, they manifest in our day-to-day behaviors and decisions. We all have values, whether we are aware of them or not. At a company level, values are the foundation for its culture. But because a company itself is not a human identity, its values are formed and sustained by the people within it. So, how does a company form, maintain, or transform its values? We will explore this in this episode. Also, I will talk about how the company's values impact its success and how low values or values that are not sustained through actions can have a negative influence on the business. Let's talk first about how a company forms its values. So, values state what is considered important for a person, a group of people, a company, or larger entities like countries and nations. Personal values are deeply held beliefs and principles that guide an individual's attitudes, behaviors, and decision making. They define what we like and accept and what we dislike and reject in a consistent manner. They serve as milestones, and based on them, we set behavior standards. A company's values are a set of beliefs and principles that are shared by its members and which guide their attitudes, behaviors, and decision making. These begin to take shape with its founder or founders. They play a significant role in establishing the core values as they define the organization's vision and mission. Sometimes these values are well defined and intentionally respected, and other times this can influence the company in an informal way. When the founder or leader of the company is deeply involved and has a significant impact on its members, they transmit their values to others, serving as role models. You may ask, what about the situation in which the founder doesn't have a strong influence on the company's members? Yes, even in this case, the company may have values. Wherever there is a group of people that interact regularly, they form their own rules, formal or informal. Now, what one company values may be considered a non-value in another company. This means that the company decides what is important, of course within the limits of the legal rules. For example, one company may value competition among its employees and make decisions that put their employees in a position to compete with each other, while another company can value collaboration and assign tasks and responsibilities in a way that creates the framework and conditions for collaboration. A company's values can be formal or informal. A company can have its values clearly defined in writing, and the company consistently upholds and demonstrates these values in its actions, policies, and practices. Values are accompanied by clear behavioral guidelines and principles that help employees understand how to apply these values in their day-to-day work. We can say that a company has values when it not only defines them but also lives by them integrates them into its culture and decision-making processes, and actively communicates and reinforces them. These values should be reflective on the company's identity and guide its actions and interactions in a consistent and meaningful way. As mentioned earlier, a company can have values even if they are not well defined in writing, but are strongly influenced by the founder. In such cases, the values often exist informally and are transmitted through the founder's actions, behaviors, and leadership style. So the founder's values, beliefs, and principles serve as a de facto set of values for the company. Employees observe the founder's actions, decisions, and interactions, which shape their understanding of what the company stands for. Over time, the founder's values become embedded in the company's culture, and the employees who resonate with these values are more likely to be attracted to and retained by the organization. These values are communicated informally, often through stories, anecdotes, and day-to-day interactions. They may not be documented in a formal value statement, but they are understood and lived by employees. And in this case, the founder plays a pivotal role in maintaining and upholding the values. Their continued presence and influence in the organization are essential for preserving the values over time. The founder's consistent adherence to these values reinforces their importance within the organization and sets expectations for employees. But there are some drawbacks of informal values. So, if the founder's values are not clearly articulated or documented, there may be inconsistencies in how employees interpret and apply them, leading to potential confusion and misalignment. The sustainability of these values may be contingent upon the founder's continued involvement in the company. If the founder leaves or steps back from leadership, there can be challenges in maintaining the values. Have you ever experienced a leadership change in a company? How did it change the way things were done and the principles that guided the decisions and actions? Also, informal values can sometimes be challenging to scale as the company grows and as new leaders come on board. Without clear documentation, it may be harder to transmit values to a larger or more diverse workforce. So, while a company can have values that are strongly influenced by the founder's impact, it's essential to consider formalizing and documenting these values over time to ensure clarity, consistency, and sustainability, especially as the organization evolves and grows. Okay, let's talk now about how a company can maintain its values. Maintaining and upholding company values requires a proactive and ongoing effort. And I will talk here about some strategies and practices. So, one way in which a company can maintain its values is through leadership commitment. Leadership, including top executives and managers, must lead by example and consistently demonstrate the company's values in their behavior and decision making. When leaders uphold the values, it sets the tone for the entire organization. If the leadership doesn't consistently follow the company's values, they weaken these values and create space for behaviors that are guided by other types of values. This can change the core values of the company and its culture. This is why it's important to carefully choose who is placed in leadership roles. Sometimes a leader can establish different standards through his or her behavior than those of the company. This happens especially in large organizations where the distance between the top leadership and middle or lower leadership is large, or in different branches of a company. Another strategy through which you can maintain the company's values is through regular communication. This starts with the new employee's onboarding process when the company provides information about its rules, policies, and expectations. The new employees already have an image about the company's values from the hiring process, but now they get to learn more through the documents they have to read and sign, to the training and interactions they have with other members of the company. Then the company has to continuously communicate its values to employees, for example, in the day-to-day activities, by explaining why certain actions or behaviors are considered good or bad, giving feedback when the employee acted according with the company's values and when they didn't. In this way, these values are constantly discussed and reinforced. Another strategy to maintain values is through integration into policies and practices. For example, the value of diversity and inclusion can be incorporated into the hiring process by seeking a diverse pool of candidates in a non-discriminatory manner. Or a value such as integrity can be integrated through a code of conduct guide that outlines expectations for ethical behavior and decision making. In practice, case studies can be discussed to help employees understand how to apply ethical principle in their work. Or another example, the value of customer focus can be integrated by making customer satisfaction a top priority in all customer interactions. In practice, employees can be trained to actively listen to customer feedback and take actions to resolve issues promptly. Recognizing and rewarding employees who exemplify the company's values in their work is another strategy. So you can celebrate and showcase positive examples. Another mechanism through which values are maintained is through accountability. For instance, ensure there are consequences for violations and address issues promptly and fairly. You can create a safe and anonymous reporting system for employees to raise concerns about unethical behavior or violations of company values. Also, leadership can be held accountable for setting an example and promoting the company's values by evaluating them based on their ability to foster a values-driven culture within their teams. Another strategy is through feedback. Encourage open feedback from employees about how well the company is living up to its values. Use this feedback to make necessary adjustments and improvements. Employee feedback can be provided through different ways, such as surveys, open discussions about decision-making processes, especially those related to values and ethical issues, and listening to their perspectives. You can use also focus groups to seek their inputs on specific values. And understand that maintaining values is an ongoing commitment. It requires continuous effort and should be part of the company's long-term strategy. By consistently applying these strategies and mechanisms, a company can maintain its values and ensure that they remain an integral part of its culture and identity. All right, let's talk now about how a company can transform its values. Transforming a company's values is a significant undertaking and should be approached with care and thoughtful planning. And I will specify some steps that a company can take to successfully transform its values. Assess and evaluate the company's values. Are they still relevant and aligned with the company's mission and goals? Are these responsive to changes in the business environment or in the industry? Changes have to be communicated to employees and other stakeholders. Explain the reasons behind the change and the benefits it will bring. Involve the leadership. Ensure that the company's leadership team is fully committed to the process of transforming values. Leadership should lead by example in embracing the new values. Involve employees, customer, partners, and other stakeholders in the process. Seek their input and feedback on what values they believe the company should adopt. And of course, define the new values. These values should be clear, concise, and actionable. Ensure that company policies, procedures, and practices align with the new values. This may involve revising HR policies, performance evaluations, and codes of conduct. Develop clear behavioral guidelines and principles associated with each new value. These guidelines should help employees understand how to apply the values in their daily tasks. You can provide training and education. You can use workshops, seminars, create channels for ongoing feedback from employees and stakeholders about the transformation process, and use this feedback to make necessary adjustments. Recognize and reward employees who exemplify the new values in their work. Celebrate milestones and successes achieved in the transformation process. And of course, establish mechanisms for holding employees accountable for aligning with the new values. Ensure there are consequences for violations and address issues promptly. Transforming values in a company is a journey that requires patience, persistence, and consistent effort. It's essential to involve all stakeholders, maintain open communication, and adapt as needed to ensure the successful integration of the new values. And let's take an example. Let's talk about Google's famous unofficial motto, "Don't be evil," that reflected its commitment to ethical practices and user centricity. Over time, Google faced several challenges and criticism that led to scrutiny of its actions and business practices. Some critics argued that the "Don't be evil" motto had become somewhat ambiguous and subjective, allowing room for interpretation. Google recognized the need for a more clear and direct expression of its commitment to ethical decision making, and during the restructuring of the company under Alphabet, the official code of conduct was changed to "Do the right thing." This motto reflects a broader and more straightforward commitment to ethical behavior and responsible corporate conduct. It emphasizes the importance of making ethical decisions in all aspects of the business. Google and Alphabet leadership communicated this change to employees and the public, emphasizing that the company's core principles remained centered on ethical values and user trust. Alright, I will make a short break now to tell you about one of my online programs named "How to Motivate Your Employees So They Care for Your Business and Help You Grow It." This online program will help you to increase your employees' motivation and their results. It's a step-by-step guide that will help you to identify your employees' personal motivational drivers and to create personalized motivational strategies for each one of them. It will also help you to increase your current general motivational strategies. You can find more details about this online program in the description of this episode. And if you have questions, you can also book a call with me. I'll be happy to answer all your questions. Alright, let's go back. Moving on to our next point, let's talk how a company's values impact its success. A company's values have impact on different aspects of a business. For example, upon employee engagement. Every employee has his or her own values, and these can be aligned or not with the company's values. They examine the company's values and each of them decide if they agree or not with them and the way these are practiced. When employees resonate with the company's values, they tend to be more engaged and committed to their work. And engaged employees are more productive, innovative, and more likely to stay with the company, reducing turnover costs. But in the case they don't like the company's values, even though they choose to act according with this, they will not be truly involved and the results might be impacted negatively. Internal and also external conflicts may occur too because they act or are asked to behave against their own beliefs and principles. Lack of engagement can have its sources in the misalignment between personal values and the company's values, not necessarily in the income or in the low competencies as usually these situations are understood. A company values impact the decision-making processes. Values serve as a guiding framework for decision-making at all levels of a company. They help employees make choices that align with the company's long-term goals and ethical standards, leading to better decision outcomes and less time-consuming. Also, values impact the company brand. Companies with strong values often enjoy a better reputation in the eyes of customers, partners, and the public. A positive reputation can lead to increased customer loyalty and trust, contributing to business success. A good reputation can also attract more and higher talents. And values can differentiate a company in a competitive market. Unique values that resonate with customers can attract a dedicated customer base and set the company apart from competitors. Now, let's shift our focus to another important aspect of our discussion, which is how low or poorly upheld values can harm a business. When company values are not upheld, it can erodate the organizational culture. When employees perceive a gap between stated values and actual behaviors, their morale can decrease. They may feel demotivated and unappreciated, which can negatively impact their productivity. Also, low or poorly upheld values can tarnish a company's reputation. Negative publicity related to unethical behavior or violations of stated values can lead to a loss of trust among customers, partners, and the public. And also, failing to uphold the ethical values can expose the company to legal risks. Low or poorly upheld values can lead to loss of customer loyalty. Customers may distance themselves from a company with questionable values. Loss of customer loyalty can translate into declining sales and market share. Poorly upheld values can damage partnerships and relationships with suppliers, investors, and other stakeholders who expect ethical conduct and shared values. When values are not consistently upheld, it can lead to poor decision making within the organization. Employees may prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability and ethical considerations. Low values can create an environment where employees feel justified in engaging in dishonest or unethical behavior. And companies with low values are more vulnerable to risk and crisis. The lack of ethical foundation can exacerbate the impact of negative events on the organization. And another consequence is that it's more difficult for these kinds of companies to attract top talents. So, low or poorly upheld values can have far-reaching negative consequences for a business, affecting its internal culture, employee satisfaction, external reputation, customer relationships, and overall long-term success. Companies that prioritize and consistently uphold their values are better positioned to build trust, foster a positive workplace culture, and achieve sustainable growth. So let's wrap up. We've delved into the intricacies of how company values are born, nurtured, and transformed. These values are the compass that guides a company's journey to success. They are the pillars upon which trust, innovation, and sustainable growth are built. If you haven't paid too much attention to your company's values until now, or you haven't clearly defined them and consistently upheld them through documents, policies, decisions, and action, it's not too late to start. Begin now and observe the transformations that come with this. And in case your company already has strong values, I hope this episode provided you with more resources and information to further improve your company's value system. Thank you for listening. Subscribe if you like this episode and share it with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.